I remember like I was in Europe. There was all these contests I used to go to out in Germany and in England. And Kareem Campbell was out there, and we were just, this was like after, maybe we were just out after the contest, just kicking it somewhere, or like trying to go to a club or something like that. And he had a pair of the Air Max 95s, the original ones when they came out. And I was just like, what are those, dude? He's like, where'd you get them? And they were just like a Foot Locker, and I think we were in England. And I was like, dude, I'm getting those tomorrow. I remember I wanted to buy another pair when I got back home, because I was like, dude, I've been wearing them in Europe and they're kind of getting a little dirty. Probably a few weeks later, got back home to LA. Everyone was like, oh, they're sold out. Those have been sold out. They sold out like, in the first couple of days. And I remember going, damn, like, that was that first taste of feeling like if you don't get something, you don't stay on top of it, you'll miss out. I've collected probably somewhere over 100, and that's just in the Air Max department. The first shoe that I really started to want to collect that was an Air Max was a 95. The Air Max 95 was the one that aesthetically that I liked the most. It just looked plush. You didn't have that in anything else, And also this upper was really sick. I mean, at the time, it still is to me. I think this is one of my favorites. What really sparked the bug was, as far as collecting shoes, was going to Japan in 1994. There was these little sneaker stores that had all this dead stock stuff. This stuff, it was all original. And I just was walking by a window and I saw a bunch of Air Jordan 1s, and I was just going, what? They have their Air Jordan 1s, and then I translated the price, it was in yen, I figured it out, I did the conversion. I think at that time were like $5,000. Which now is probably like 10 grand. But I saw it and I was like, oh my God, they're $5,000. You gotta be kidding me. I was like, I'll buy those right now. I didn't realize how much they were. I was just like, oh my gosh. Because the Jordan 1s were when I started skating, every pro I looked up to skated in that shoe. I guess I was the guy who stole the airbag and brought it to skateboarding. Which is this. This is when I did not skate for Nike. This is when I skated for S. At first when I was like, can we do an airbag? Because I didn't know, the legal ramifications of stealing from Nike's technology. I was just like, I want an airbag, my shoe would be so sick, it'd look like this, it'd be so. Then found out it was no, and then it was yes. We'd actually started designing it without the airbag. Then we found out the patent ended, so that's what basically okayed us to steal the airbag, and I think everyone started stealing airbags right after this. Since Nike knew about my sneaker history and what I was interested in, we tried to come up with ideas of how to incorporate my favorite Nikes, into my shoe, making it skatable, and that's where we came up with the Koston 1 Heritage. It was my tooling with the Air Max 90 upper on it. When it came down to, I guess, our Max, since we did the Air Max 90, why don't we do the Air Max 1, especially when you modeled this tooling, that sort of Air Max 1 airbag, Frankenstein with my 2 and an Air Max 1 upper. That's how this sort of came together. When we did the Air Max 90, because we went through all these shoes that were my favorites, right? And so Air Max 95 always comes up top of the list. And so we tried to mock it up on the Koston 1 and try to do that gradient. But we were trying to do it without paneling. It just didn't really translate. We tried to do some sort of we tried to do the color up thing. It totally wasn't working, It was the colors were blending and it wasn't as clean as the way that looked. All these sort of came together in a way that the stories really fit, the uppers and the tooling and all those sort of things it was sort of a meant to be situation. So the 95, when the time comes, there's going to be a place, and it's going to find its place, trust me.